You've been there before. 20 minutes vanish, and so does $200. Your pulse tightens, your breath shortens, and suddenly the only thought echoing in your mind is, just one more spin, one more chance to make it right. What you don't realize in that moment is that this exact feeling, the rising panic, the tightening chest, the desperate need to chase, is something casino employees recognize instantly. They've seen it thousands of times, and they know exactly where it leads. I'm speaking as someone who walked the casino floor night after night, someone who watched calm, confident players crumble the moment a losing streak began. The tragedy isn't just the money they lost, it's how predictable the spiral always was. The player starts steady, hits a rough patch, and then make 7 emotional, catastrophic mistakes that turn a simple cold session into a full-blown financial tailspin. These mistakes aren't random, they follow a pattern casinos quietly expect, quietly depend on, and quietly profit from. But here's the part the casino never wants you to understand. Every single one of those 7 deadly mistakes is avoidable. All of them. You don't need luck. You don't need a secret strategy. You need awareness. Because once the emotional spiral begins, logic shuts down, discipline disappears, and the house doesn't just win. It overwhelms you. So before we go further, let me ask you something honestly, and answer it for yourself before you answer anyone else. Have you ever chased your losses at a slot machine? Maybe once, maybe more than once, maybe more times than you want to admit. There's no judgment here. If you've ever found yourself pushing that button harder, faster, hoping the next spin would erase the pain of the last one, you're about to learn exactly why it happened, and more importantly, how to make sure it never traps you again. Because today, we're breaking down the 7 slot machine mistakes that ex-casino employees warn you to never, ever make. These are the mistakes that quietly drain bankrolls, ruin nights, and turn hopeful players into desperate chasers. And once you understand them, you'll see the casino floor with new eyes. Clear eyes. Eyes the house can't easily manipulate. Are you ready to see what really happens behind those bright lights and ringing bonuses? This first mistake is the silent killer, the one that has ended more bankrolls than any bad machine or unlucky streak ever could. It starts innocently. You sit down, feeling calm and in control, maybe betting $1.25 on a buffalo slot. For a while, nothing hits. 10 spins, 15 spins. The reels keep spinning cold, and slowly frustration starts crawling up your spine. That's when the deadly thought slips into your mind. Maybe I should raise the bet, just a little, so you bump it to $2.50, then $5. Then suddenly you're tapping $10 a spin, convinced you're fighting back. But what you don't realize in that moment is that you've crossed an invisible line, one that casino employees recognize instantly. Because the second you increase your bet after a loss, you're no longer playing. You're chasing, and chasers never win. They don't improve their odds, they don't magically trigger bonuses, and they don't force a machine to pay. All they do is multiply their losses at lightning speed. Slot machines don't care how much you bet. They don't remember your cold streak, they don't feel your frustration, and they certainly don't reward bigger bets with better outcomes. Every spin is independent. Raising your bet doesn't increase your chances. It only shrinks the number of spins your bankroll can survive. Think about it. At $1.25 per spin, a $200 budget gives you around 160 spins, 160 chances for a bonus, a multiplier, or even just a decent hit. But at $10 a spin, you get only 20 chances. And if those 20 spins are cold, it's over. You're walking to the ATM with regret burning in your stomach. That's why insiders always say the same thing. Higher bets don't change the odds, they only change the speed of your downfall. Casinos know this pattern extremely well. They track it, study it, and design their machines around it. The flashing lights, the near misses, the almost bonuses, they're psychological triggers engineered to make players escalate their bets in moments of frustration. The system knows that the average person will increase their bet 3 to 4 times during a losing streak. It's not an accident. It's by design. That bet adjustment button isn't there to help you win. It's there to make sure the house wins faster. The solution, the one rule that separates disciplined players from emotional chasers, is painfully simple. Lock your bet size before the first spin and to never touch it again. If you begin at $1, you finish at $1, win or lose. No bargaining. No No, just this once. Lock it in because removing the ability to escalate your bet removes one of the strongest psychological weapons the casino has against you, your panic. Now let me ask you something honestly. What's the biggest bet you've ever made out of pure frustration? Drop it in the comments, because you might be surprised how many people have been in the exact same moment you're remembering right now. Here's the brutal truth that every ex-casino employee knows by heart. If you walk onto the casino floor without a loss limit, your fate is already sealed. You haven't started losing yet, but you will. Because players without limits don't stop when they should stop. They stop only when they have nothing left. And inside a casino, nothing left almost always means zero. Employees on the floor can identify these players instantly. They're the ones who sit down with $300, lose it, feel that sting of panic, and head straight, almost automatically, to the ATM. They come back with another $200 or $300, lose that too, and then sit there staring blankly at the machine, trying to understand how the night slipped through their fingers so fast. But the answer is simple. They never decided when enough was enough, so the machine decided for them. And the machine always chooses zero. That's why professionals, real professionals, use a system, not superstition, not luck. A system built on discipline, and it's called the three-tier stop-loss strategy, the quiet habit that separates the controlled player from the one who spirals. Tier 1, the session stop. Before you even sit down, you decide the maximum amount you're willing to lose in that single session. Maybe it's $100. The very moment you hit that number, you stop. No bargaining, no maybe the next spin. You stand up and walk away. This rule exists because emotion always tries to negotiate. Professional players don't negotiate with themselves. Tier 2, the daily stop. You set the total amount you're willing to lose for the entire day, maybe $200 or $300, and once you reach it, you're done. Not done on this machine, not done on this side of the casino. You walk out the door. Because the most dangerous thought a gambler can have is, maybe I'll win it back on another machine. That thought alone has emptied more bank accounts than any losing streak ever could. Tier 3, the mental stop. This is the emotional safeguard, the one that protects you when your wallet still has money but your mind is slipping into panic mode. If you feel desperation creeping in, if frustration is knotting your chest, if you catch yourself obsessing over winning it back, this rule activates instantly. Even if you haven't hit your dollar limit, you stop. Because emotional decisions are the most expensive decisions a player can make. And here's the insider truth. Casinos make their biggest profits not from players who lose, but from players who don't stop. That's why discipline, not luck, is the greatest advantage you can have. So be honest with yourself for a moment. Do you set a loss limit before you play, or do you hope you won't lose too much? Here's a powerful trick used by seasoned players. Make your loss limit physical. Bring only the cash you are prepared to lose. Leave your debit card in the car. Leave your credit cards at home. If the money isn't with you, you can't chase with it. It's one of the simplest, smartest, most effective protections you'll ever use. And remember this, when you walk away after reaching your stop loss, you're not quitting, you're winning. Because 90% of players don't stop until everything is gone. So just by walking away, you're already ahead of most people in the casino. This mistake is so simple, so obvious, and yet so devastatingly common that casino employees almost count on it. It starts the same way every time. You sit down at a machine feeling optimistic, slide in $50, and expect at least a few bonuses or small hits to keep you afloat. But 10 minutes later, you're staring at a balance of $8, and nothing remarkable has happened. No bonus, no free spins, no multipliers, just an endless stream of dead spins and cruel near misses that almost feel intentional. And instead of leaving, most players stay. Why? Because they convince themselves the machine is warming up. They believe it's due to pay because they've fed it so much already. But that belief is a trap, a deeply rooted psychological trick called the sunk cost fallacy. And inside a casino, it's one of the most expensive illusions a player can fall for. Here's what ex-casino employees know better than anyone. Machines do not get due. They don't build up pressure like geysers waiting to explode. They don't track how much you've spent, and they certainly don't feel guilty for eating your bankroll. Every spin is a separate event, completely independent. The machine doesn't remember your last 50 losing spins. It doesn't care. And it doesn't owe you anything. A cold machine is simply cold, and hoping it magically heats up just because you've earned it is like standing in a rainstorm expecting the clouds to stop out of sympathy. The weather doesn't care, and neither do the slots. The fix is one of the smartest insider rules ever created. The $20 test rule. Give any machine, no matter how flashy, how fun, or how tempting, exactly $20. During that $20, you should get at least one bonus, or at the very least a decent hit that proves the machine has life in it. If you don't, you leave. Immediately. No bargaining with yourself. No, maybe one more $10. No, I'm already deep into it, I can't leave now. You get up and walk away. Because here's the part players forget. Casinos have hundreds of machines. If the one you're glued to is freezing cold, there's another one somewhere else that's hot. But you'll never find it if you're stubbornly feeding a dead machine, hoping it will suddenly become generous. There's also a subtle insider move most players don't know. Machines that just paid out a big bonus often get abandoned by emotional players. They feel satisfied, lucky, or simply overwhelmed by the high and choose to walk away. That means those machines, already cycling, often become open again, not because they're hot, but because players leave at emotionally convenient moments. It's not a guarantee, but it's a useful observation from employees who've watched machines cycle for years. Now, be honest with yourself. How long do you usually stay at a cold machine before you give up? 20 minutes? 30? An hour? Most people stay far longer than they should, not because the machine is promising, but because they feel trapped by what they've already lost. Always remember, your loyalty belongs to your bankroll, not to a machine. This is the moment where the chasing losses spiral becomes truly dangerous. Because once frustration enters the picture, logic is no longer sitting beside you at the machine. Emotion is. You've already lost $150. Your jaw feels tight, your chest is heavier than before, and you sit down at a new machine whispering to yourself, "This one will be different. I just need one good hit, one bonus, and I'm back." But this is exactly the moment ex-casino employees watch for, because they know that a frustrated player isn't just likely to lose, they're almost guaranteed to. Here's the truth few gamblers ever admit to themselves. The most expensive spins you will ever make are the ones you make while tilted. When frustration takes over, your decision-making collapses. You stop caring about bankroll management. You stop monitoring your bet size. You stop thinking about the rules you promised yourself you'd follow. Your entire focus narrows down to one desperate mission: get it back. And that single, emotional mission is the reason countless players leave casinos with far more damage than they ever intended. Casinos know this emotional shift extremely well. They study it. They profit from it. They've watched thousands of players go from calm to reckless in a matter of minutes. A frustrated player taps faster, bets bigger, ignores limits, and chases blindly. That's why casinos don't need to trick you. They only need to wait for your emotions to do the work for them. Because frustration doesn't just cloud your judgment, it blinds you. The fix is simple, yet incredibly powerful: the 15-minute cooling off rule. The very moment you lose more than 50% of your session bankroll and you feel even the slightest flicker of emotional frustration, you stop immediately. Not after 5 more spins, not after one more bonus attempt. You stop right then. You walk away from the machine, go outside, take a breath of fresh air, get a coffee, sit in your car for 10 minutes with the engine off. Do anything except continue to play. That short break resets your brain, literally. The dopamine spike that pushed you into desperation fades, your heartbeat slows, your perspective clears. And very often, after those 15 minutes, players realize something important. They don't actually want to keep playing. The urge to get it back was temporary, emotional, and irrational, and walking away becomes the smartest decision they make all night. Let me ask you something personal. What's the worst decision you've ever made while chasing losses, and how much did it cost you? If you're comfortable sharing, your story could help someone else avoid repeating the same painful mistake. Here's one more insider truth. Casino employees see the same faces come back 3, 4, even 5 times in a single day trying to recover earlier losses. And every time they return, they leave with less. Because frustration never leads to winning, only to deeper losses. So, the next time you feel your body tightening, your fingers tapping harder, or your thoughts racing, listen to those signals. They are warnings. Protect your money. Protect your clarity. Protect your mental state. Because no jackpot is worth the emotional storm that follows chasing losses while frustrated. Most players don't even realize this is happening. They think their losses come from bad luck, cold machines, or unfair payouts. But ex-casino employees know something far more dangerous is at play: the speed of your spins. It sounds harmless, almost silly to think about, but the faster you spin, the faster you lose. And nothing accelerates losses like the frantic, rapid-fire tapping of a player who's already tilting. When you're calm, when you're genuinely playing for fun, you spin slowly. You watch the reels, enjoy the animations, maybe laugh with a friend or chat with the person next to you. Each spin takes 10, 15, maybe even 20 seconds. But when you're chasing, when you're frustrated, when you feel that rush of panic and urgency, everything changes. Suddenly, you're slamming the button 3 times in 10 seconds. You're not watching the reels anymore. You're not thinking. You're just spinning, hoping something, anything will hit. Here's what insiders know. Speed isn't harmless. It's lethal. Imagine you you're betting $2 per spin or shiz. At a calm pace, you might make 30 spins in 10 minutes. That's $60 through the machine. But when you're frustrated and tapping like your life depends on it, you might fire off 60, 70, even 80 spins in the same time. That's $120 to $160, double, even triple the amount you would have risked if you weren't spiraling emotionally. And the worst part? Your odds don't improve with speed. You're not spinning faster to get to the bonus. You're not outpacing the cold streak. You're simply feeding the machine more aggressively, giving the house edge far more opportunities to grind you down. Casinos understand this perfectly. It's one of the quiet reasons why modern machines allow near-instant spins. The designers know that when players get emotional, they stop engaging. They start machine gunning the button. And every one of those rapid spins is another tiny slice of your bankroll disappearing without you even processing what's happening. The solution is incredibly simple and unbelievably effective: the breath between spins rule. Before every spin, take one slow inhale and one full exhale, then press the button. That single habit does 3 critical things at once. It slows your pace, it re-engages your awareness, it stops the emotional spiral before it accelerates. If you catch yourself speed spinning, meaning you can't even recall the last 3 results, you stop immediately. Stand up, stretch, go to the restroom, break the pattern. Because if you don't break the pattern will break your bankroll. Let me ask you this honestly. Do you play faster when you're losing? Yes or no? Most people already know the truth. They just don't want to admit it. Remember, casinos make money on volume. The more spins you make, the more the math works against you. So slow down, stay calm, stay present. Because control, not speed, is what keeps your bankroll alive. This is the dream that destroys more bankrolls than any cold machine ever could. The fantasy that one single bonus will erase all the damage. And as ex-casino employees, we watched this heartbreaking pattern unfold every single night. A player is down $300, clinging to their last $50, and telling themselves the same quiet lie: if I just hit one big bonus, I'll be fine. I can get it all back. But that tiny flicker of hope, that desperate belief in a miracle spin, is exactly what keeps players locked in the chasing spiral. Here's the harsh truth most gamblers never want to face: the bonus won't save you. Not the one you're waiting for, not the one you think you deserve, not even the one you finally hit. Because even when that miracle moment comes, when the lights flash, the music plays, the free spins rain down, the outcome never truly fixes the problem. Maybe you win $200, maybe $250, maybe even more. But if you were already down $300, you're still losing. And because you feel that surge of renewed hope, you start believing you're on a roll. So you keep playing, convinced the machine will keep rewarding you. And what happens next? 20 minutes later, the $250 you won is gone. Then the $50 you had before the bonus is gone. And suddenly, instead of being down $300, you're down $550. This is the vicious cycle ex-casino employees watch with painful familiarity. It almost never ends with the player ahead. It ends with them defeated, confused, and wondering how one lucky moment somehow made everything worse. Here's what few players understand: bonuses don't arrive when you need them. They arrive when the RNG decides. The random number generator doesn't care that you're down. It doesn't sense your desperation. It doesn't reward your loyalty. It triggers whenever the math says it should. Nothing more, nothing less. That's why the fix is so important. The bonus reality check. If you're already deep in losses, a bonus won't fix the night. And if you do hit a bonus while you're down big, that's your cue to walk away, not to keep playing. Treat a bonus like lightning. When lightning strikes, you don't stand there hoping to get struck again. You take cover. You protect yourself. You leave. Let me ask you something honestly. Have you ever hit a big bonus while chasing losses, and then lost it all back almost immediately? If the answer is yes, you're not alone. Thousands of players fall into this trap every single day. Here's the insider truth very few gamblers understand. The biggest wins often happen when you're calm, not when you're desperate, because desperation leads to bad timing, bad decisions, and bad bets. But calmness leads to clarity, control, and smarter play. Stop chasing the miracle spin. Start protecting the money you still have, because survival, bankroll survival, is always more valuable than salvation. This is the quietest danger of them all, the one that sneaks up without flashing lights or dramatic losses. Unlike the emotional tilt, the furious button slapping, or the just one more bonus fantasy, this mistake doesn't feel like a mistake at all while it's happening. And that's exactly why it destroys more players than they ever realize. It's simple. Most people have no idea how much they're really losing at the casino until the next morning, when reality hits them harder than any dead spin ever could. It starts small. You sit down with $200. It disappears faster than expected. You tell yourself, it's fine, I'll grab another 100. Then another 100. Then maybe another 50. None of it feels real in the moment, because the casino environment is designed to make money feel abstract. Chips instead of bills, tickets instead of cash, items on every corner, dim lighting, loud machines. Everything is crafted to disconnect you from the weight of your actual spending. And before you know it, what felt like a mild $200 loss has quietly ballooned into $400, $500, even more. Ex-casino employees see this all day long. Players convince themselves they only lost a couple hundred, when in reality they might be down triple that amount. And here's the insider truth. The casino wants that confusion. It thrives on it. The less you track, the more you spend. The more you spend, the faster discipline collapses. And the faster discipline collapses, the more the house wins every single time. That's why the fix for this mistake is so deceptively simple, yet incredibly powerful. The paper and pen rule. Bring a small notepad or use a notes app on your phone. Every time you insert cash, write it down. Every time you cash out, write it down. At the end of the session, do the math. Seeing the numbers written out, cold, clear, undeniable, forces you to confront the truth in a way that mental guessing never will. When the losses are real on paper, they become real in your mind. And once they're real, you can't hide behind excuses anymore. There's also a second insider move that seasoned players swear by. Set a hard cash limit and bring only that amount. If your limit is $200, you bring $200 in cash, and nothing else. Leave your debit card in your car. Leave your credit cards at home. If the money isn't physically with you, you can't sabotage yourself with one more 100. You can't chase what you don't have access to. Let me ask you something honestly. Do you actually track your losses, or do you just hope they're not as bad as they feel? Be truthful with yourself, because denial is the most expensive form of gambling there is. Players who don't track are not managing their bankroll. They're simply hoping for the best. And hope in the casino is not a strategy, it's bait. Always remember this. If you don't measure it, you can't control it. And if you don't control your losses, the casino will, down to the very last dollar. Now that we've broken down all 7 of the warnings ex-casino employees desperately wish every slot player knew, it becomes clear that the real danger inside a casino isn't the machines. It's the emotional spiral they trigger. The math will always favor the house, but the math alone isn't what destroys bankrolls. It's the panic, the frustration, the impulsive decisions, the chasing. The moment emotion takes the wheel, the house doesn't just win, it consumes you. So let's bring everything together, the entire blueprint that protects players from the chasing losses trap. 1. Never increase your bet size after losing. Lock your bet. Don't let frustration escalate it. 2. Never play without a loss limit. Set your stop loss. Respect it. 3. Never stay at a machine that's draining you. Give it $20. If it's dead, walk. 4. Never keep playing when you're frustrated. Take a 15-minute reset before emotions take over. 5. Never ignore your speed. Slow down, one breath between every spin. 6. Never believe one bonus can save you. Bonuses are random, not miracles. 7. Never play without tracking your losses. Write everything down, make it real. These aren't just tips. They are the difference between walking out of the casino with your dignity or walking out broke, exhausted, and wondering how things spiraled so quickly. Because the truth every former casino employee knows deep down is that the most dangerous opponent you face isn't the house. It's your own emotions. Once those emotions flare, the dominoes fall fast. So let me ask you one final question. Which of these 7 mistakes have you made? And more importantly, which one will you fix before your next casino trip? If this video helped you recognize the traps that so many players fall into, hit that like button so more people can see it too. And if you want more insider warnings, strategies, and the hidden truths casinos don't want players to understand, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Remember, the smartest players aren't the luckiest. They're the most disciplined. They know when to play. They know when to stop. And most importantly, they know when to walk away. This content is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Gambling should always be done responsibly. If it stops being fun, or if you feel it's affecting your life, please reach out to your local gambling helpline for confidential help. Play smart, stay disciplined, and I'll see you on the next one.